Where's Steve at? Hey, Steve.
So why do I have two tickets? Like my husband's
Great.
gonna want to go to
Back
this.
there.
No, it was chilly in there, wasn't it?
Maybe.
You want to bring me in? Hey Steve.
Usually chilly in there.
Why do I have a phone?
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. Can I have a motion to go back into open?
Move.
Mr. Chili, second.
Second.
Dr. Peak, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
For those of you just joining us, the first hour of the meeting, we spent interviewing our 4 candidates that applied for the board vacancy. We went in the back and deliberated. We do have a scoring sheet that we go by, and we go in the back and ask whose people's first and second choices are. The person's first choice gets 2 points, second choice gets 1 point, and the top vote getter tonight was Adina Luthner. So Adina will be joining the board as long as she is approved by a vote and recommendation. So can I have a motion for Adina Luther to fill the vacancy left behind by Ms. McGee?
Motion.
Mr. Nunziata, second. Dr. Peak, questions or comments?
I would just thank everybody who came and put their names in for the seat. It's a responsibility joining the board. So thank you to everyone who put themselves out there and came tonight to interview.
Absolutely. Okay, roll call vote.
Mrs. Coughlin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Dr. Peak?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Annunziata?
Yes.
Mrs. Bucieri?
Yes.
Mr. Chili?
Yes.
Mr. Sparta?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Adina, if you would like to come up and get sworn in and take your seat. Congratulations. Hopefully you have a babysitter until about midnight tonight.
do.
So.
He's not joking.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Adina,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to statute listed,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to statute listed,
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense,
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Your life will be forever changed.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll move on to letter H, student representatives. I believe Mr. Kempis has a packet there for you already. So. First up is Glen Meadow. Mrs. Davenport.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Davenport. Thank you very much for letting me be here tonight. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is my passion, which has always been track and field, and the fact that we average about 125 kids every year coming out for track, and we don't cut anybody. We take in everybody, which even gives the lesser kids a chance to be part of something bigger, part of a team that they don't get any other time. We're also a feeder program for the high school, and this is a marvelous blend because those kids were on my track team when they were at Glen Meadow, and now that they've moved on to the high school, they remember high school kids helping them. So they are there to help my kids now at Glen Meadow, and the cycle keeps going. It's a beautiful blend that just keeps going on and on. So now we have my other student ambassadors, and they're going to come up and let you know about the other programs that we have at Glen Meadow. Our first one is Tina Cianella.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tina Chanella, as Ms. Davenport said. I'm going to share a summary of the year's successful after-school activities at Glen Meadow. So there are some days when over 100 students stay after school to participate in any activity. Some highlights are track and field. As Ms. Davenport said, there are about 125 kids every year that come out for the sport. We compete with other New Jersey teams like Sparta, Newton, and Kittatinny. But we also run against and do field events against New York teams like Warwick and other ones in that area. We've done I think we did 2 or 3 of them. But in the end, it's not much. It's really not about winning. It's just about beating your own personal best. We can run faster and jump farther and throw farther than we ever imagined being able to do so. Since Ms. Davenport and Mr. Galante never cut during tryouts, there's so many possibilities and that attend to all levels of students. Another activity is the Academic Bowl. The Academic Bowl is occupied of 7th and 8th graders. They compete in a countrywide tournament and came ninth out of 17 teams. Another after-school activity is Battle of the Books. The Battle of the Books is competed in this 4th inter-district competition in this June. A team of 5 5th graders, the team of 5th graders, a team of 6th graders, and 2 teams of 7th and 8th grade students that were mixed together competed against teams all over Sussex County this year. This year, the 6th grade team took 2nd place and only missed 1 question. Another club is the Builders Club. The Builders Club participated in numerous service projects such as sorting and bagging up toiletries to distribute over 150 of New York City's homeless population. Helped organize a food drive, donated $200 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation by collecting letters from Glen Meadow students, and participated in the Red Hand Day to bring awareness about children's soldiers around the world, wrote letters to veteran and senior citizens, collected eyeglasses for people in Guatemala, and decorated Glen Meadow for Earth Day. There's another club called Chess and Gaming Club. In this club, members form new friendships and practice positive social interaction and developing confidence, pride in themselves. They also learn logical reasoning and problem-solving skills, which can be used in math. That's probably good. We also have snacks and drinks every week. And then there's chorus. Last week, members of Glen Meadow and Lounsbury Chorus participated in American Young Voices program at the Brusentel Center. They participated with over 8,500 students from over 100 schools in a Friday evening concert. What a wonderful opportunity for those students that attended. The Green Team is another after-school activity that Glen Meadow offers. With the efforts to make a difference in our world, a recycling Green Team collected 2,010 pounds of plastic this year, beating out their count of 1,300 pounds last year. Glen Meadow came in 2nd place in the countrywide Trex Plastic Film Recycling Challenge and received a Trex bench from the school, which is very comfortable. I have to say that. And then the one last is the Glen Meadow Jazz Band, which I really like. It's really good. The jazz band performed at the Sparta Jazz Festival and the West Milford Jazz Festival, earning a rating of silver and also winning Best Soloist awards for Logan Peak and Ian Rovner. We also performed at the Spring Concert, Jazz at the Flats, and Art Standing. Congratulations to the Glen Meadow Jazz Band for a successful year.
Hi, I'm Abby Sokolowitz, and this is Kat Dorsey. This year, in Miss Stigler's Period 9 Foundations Lab class, we had Mrs. Gass come in to work with us in designing eyeglasses. Mrs. Gass is a parent of our friend Mallory and works for Marcolin Eyewear. We learned about how glasses get designed and created. We got to design our own glasses that were voted on by students and teachers in our school. And Martha and I sent the top 2 designs overseas to be prototyped. And they were prototyped. This was mine. Now the calculations were a little wrong, so they look like Angry Bird eyebrows. But they're supposed to be kids' glasses, and then cats.
These are mine. They didn't have Angry Bird eyebrows. They turned out like perfect compared to what we drew.
Gotta hold these. And then
Ladies, how does it feel to design something and then when it comes, there's the product? What did you feel?
I was very excited. I'm not gonna lie, I was like crying a bit.
Box opening video. You know how they do that? You know, they, yeah, awesome.
It was really amazing how accurate they turned out compared to what we drew.
This was cats.
Right.
Wow.
How many people voted on the glasses, Kathy?
We've had over, I want to say 280 people voting for them, teachers and students and other adults that are in the building. Anybody who could get in to vote voted on it.
Fantastic.
Congratulations. 27 people in the class who created glasses, so it's really hard.
Great job. So show us how it was set up, because this is what people voted on. They walked on a
They walked around
table.
like this, and our names were covered, so
Right.
they couldn't vote for people they knew.
Right.
And it was set up like this.
Yeah. And you walked by and you saw each of them, and then you got to vote on.
On 2 of them, yeah.
Congratulations.
Very
Good
nice.
job.
Good job.
Well, hello. My name is Lee Rose Hart. I am also a member of Glen Meadow. I am in 8th grade. I'm also going to be talking about more of the after-school activities. Well, I'm going to fix this because this is not my height. All right. So I'm going to start with the student ambassadors. Student ambassadors will be moving up to the high school with great ideas and leadership skills. Glen Meadow wants to thank them for the role models they are, and especially for being an important role in bringing back Field Day and to Glen Meadow. The National Junior Honor Society. National Junior Honor Society members had a successful year by participating in the following service activities. Number 1, Stuff the Stocking. Partnering with Project Self-Sufficiency, we conducted a holiday gift collection during the month of December for the less fortunate families in our community. Number 2, Pennies for Patients. Partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we raised over $1,500 for blood cancer research during the month of February. Number 3, we wrote letters of thanks to our military serving overseas. Number 4, a DVD collection was run for our military away from their families. Number 5, roadside cleanup. We cleaned up garbage along the roadside of Lake Panorama Loop on a Sunday morning in May. Number 6, box tops for education are clipped and bundled throughout the year to raise funds for the induction ceremony. Number 7, a successful induction ceremony took place in March where 22 students were inducted into the National Junior Honor Society. Next activity is field hockey. Field hockey team had a very successful year in both 5 and 6th grade and 7th and 8th grade levels. We had 5 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties. We participated in youth hockey night at the high school, and the girls played against Frankfurt on the turf. Glen Meadow's musical. This year, nearly 60 students participated in Glen Meadow Middle School's theater in various ways. From Lee Rose to stagging of our musical, students found a place to not only express themselves freely, but to thrive. This year's production of The Sound of Music was a great success due to the hard work, dedication, countless rehearsals hours of each of these students after school from December to the showtime in April. These students are already looking forward to joining us next year and in high school. The 6th grade Young Astronauts Club. The 6th grade Young Astronauts Club met after school. They worked as a team, learned more about space, and went on a field trip to simulate a moon mission. Some of the activities include water bottle rockets, designing parachutes, designing pasta rovers, building and designing entry descent landers, pop rockets, extreme acids and bases experiment, and a lot of team building exercises. TREPS. TREPS Marketplace was held on November 29th. Students learned how to build a business and sold their product at the marketplace. 56 students participated with 37 businesses, and 27 of them sold out. The Variety Show. Glen Meadows Variety Show was held in November with students from all 3 grades participating. From singing to dancing, comedy routines to gymnastics, it was wonderful seeing our students display their talent on stage in front of an audience. Volleyball tournaments. There were several after-school volleyball tournaments this year, which raised a total of $1,800. The money raised is used to fund students' activities such as our field days this year. Yearbook. Several students stayed after school, developing their photography skills, capturing all of the amazing activities that occurred at Glen Meadow. Then they used their creativity to put all in the 2019 Glen Meadow Middle School yearbook. The students are excited for their grade level yearbook signing parties to begin tomorrow with the 8th graders. In addition to these after-school activities, we also have an art club, the boys and girls basketball team, cross country, golf, wrestling, math counts, Reflections magazine, and robotics. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed our after-school activities at Glen Meadow. Have a good night.
I have one question for you, young lady. Tomorrow, when everyone's signing their yearbooks, what will be your favorite memory to write down in a yearbook?
My favorite memory, since I'm an 8th grader, would probably be the 8th grade dance. Because it was really fun, and I get to hang out with all my friends. And even if they're not going to Vernon High School next year, we'll
they
still have
better
all the
be.
memories. I hope they are. But that would be my favorite moment.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Next up is Dr. Anderson to introduce our next guest speaker.
New Jersey Department of Education, Office of Special Education sponsors regional Dare to Dream student leadership conferences that highlight strategies and information to prepare high school students with disabilities for college and career readiness. Each conference features keynote presentations from accomplished students and young adults who have demonstrated exemplary self-advocacy and leadership skills. The conference gives students the opportunity to participate in workshops led by their peers on topics such as self-discovery, student self-advocacy, learning styles, developing career paths, and understanding rights and responsibilities in college. Dare to Dream has long been a positive and empowering experience for thousands of New Jersey students. On Tuesday, May 22, 2018, Joseph Dunlop was selected to present a keynote address at William Patterson University for the Dare to Dream Student Leadership Conference. The topic of Joseph's speech was Overcoming Obstacles and Preparing for My Future. It is noteworthy that Joseph is the first ever 8th grader in the 20-year history of this conference to be selected as the keynote speaker on the day before his 14th birthday. Following his speech, Joseph received a standing ovation from his audience of 375 teachers and students from throughout the state of New Jersey. As a result of his successful presentation, he was asked to be a student presenter 2 weeks later at Montclair State University for the Department of Education Inclusive Education Conference. His audience consisted of 400 high school teachers and college professors, and once again, Joseph's presentation was followed by thunderous applause and a standing ovation. This year, on May 21st and May 30th, Joseph was again selected as a keynote address speaker for the 2019 Dare to Dream conferences held at William Patterson University and Montclair State University. The title of his speech, which you will hear this evening, is Transitioning to High School or Climbing Mount Everest, which is more challenging. In addition to his talents in public speaking, Joseph is an active participant in a variety of Vernon Township High School extracurricular activities, as well as a member of the Boy Scouts, where Joseph is working toward his future goal of receiving an Eagle Scout Award. Welcome, Joseph. We look forward to hearing your speech.
He's a little taller than middle schoolers.
I get that a lot. So, Mr. Shea, should I start on page 1 or just the title?
Start right there.
Okay. So, good evening, all members of the board. Welcome to another exciting Dare to Dream conference. The title of my speech is Transitioning to High School or Climbing Mount Everest. Which is more challenging? Tonight, I am going to share my transition to high school survival strategies, which I call the Dunlop Success Formula. I hope you can apply these strategies to any new challenge in your own world. First, let's imagine Mount Everest. It's 30,000 feet high and the most famous mountain on Earth. Men, women, and teenagers from all over attempt to climb to the top. Why, you ask? Maybe because those climbers dare to dream. Always remember, those climbers are just like all of us when we need to transition to something new in our world. That is our Everest. Why talk about climbing Mount Everest at a Board of Education meeting? It is because I learned that there are 18 different climbing routes to the top of that mountain. Doesn't that remind you of how each of us take a different path to achieving goals in our own life? However, to survive Mount Everest and everyday life, we need to be prepared. Is climbing Mount Everest scary? Yes. Is it impossible? No. At school, we all had an IEP. And what is school all about? Learning. And what are we all challenged with? Learning. Plus, some of us, like me, also need to work on physical or communication or attention challenges. But, just like trying to climb Mount Everest, first we have to carefully plan ahead. We need to design a path that works with our own individual needs. And most importantly, we have to design the survival plan before we arrive at our Mount Everest. Remember the lesson that we need to learn from that famous mountain. Mount Everest is challenging, but not impossible. Now, I want to tell all of you about my Mount Everest. The orthodontist put on my braces and a palate expander right after school began in September. Bad timing, trust me, I know. It was bad because I had a lot of trouble with my speech. I couldn't speak well, and it really stressed me out not being able to make a good first impression with students or teachers who did not know me. I was also worried about getting lost and being late for some of my classes because some of them are very apart. In my mind, getting from band class to my math class was like trying to climb to the summit of Everest. I just never thought I would get there. So it was time to use The Power of Yet by Dr. Carol Dweck, who I do not know. But her words, the power of yet, is all about believing that you can improve. So my speech, language therapist, and physical therapist went over that with me every session we had. So give them a hand, because they put a lot of work for me. So now, instead of telling myself that I can't get to class on time, I simply say that I can't get there yet. Instead of saying I can't have a conversation because of my new braces, I say I can't get my words out yet. Next time all of you feel frustrated about something, try using the power of yet. Another part of my transition to high school that scared me was crowded hallways filled with strangers. But by October, my Dunlop success formula was working. There were now many students talking to me who were no longer strangers. How did that happen? It happened because I joined as many high school activities as I could fit in my weekly schedule. When feeling anxious, I keep telling myself that I don't feel like I belong here yet. But now I am in the band, the art club, peer group, and the key club. And thanks to my wrestling coach, I'm also very lucky to be the student manager of the high school wrestling team. So today, I know how great it is to feel like I belong. IEPs and learning challenges will not keep us from a bright future. Once more, let me review my Dunlop success formula so all of you can get a better understanding of what it is. Number 1, figure it out. What is your Mount Everest? Number 2, be a believer. And finally, number 3, use the power of yet to achieve and succeed. Before I leave the podium this evening, I would like to read some of the lyrics of a Miley Cyrus song. The title is The Climb. Like my speech, Miley compares overcoming obstacles to climbing a mountain. I think the words will help to motivate each of us when Mount Everest challenges get in our way. There will always be another mountain or an uphill battle, and sometimes we may have to lose, but it is not about how fast we get there, and it is not about what's waiting on the other side. It's all about the climb. I would also like to quote one of my favorite WWE wrestlers named John Cena. So all the board members, please stand up, and everyone in the crowd, please stand up and join me when I read his phrase 3 times. It's never give up, so please join me. never give up, never give up, never give up. Thank you. To each person in today's audience, I hope that you always remember, dare to dream. Thank you.
Brad, if I may, very quickly.
Absolutely.
As you know, we're very top parents. He's our fourth. At 3 years old, Joseph could not walk from there to that camera without falling down. And you couldn't understand a word he said. He went into the early intervention program at Walnut Ridge at 3.5. At the Dare to Dream conference last year, he was introduced by Mr. Joe Janis, who was his physical therapist. And he said quite a few nice things about Joe, and at the end he said, "You may wonder how I know these things about Joseph." He said, "Well, I'm the man that taught him how to walk," and he did. Allison Guilfoyle is here tonight as well, and she's been a speech teacher since he was here in this building. And the bond they've established, they've become part of our family. And the work they're doing is wonderful, not just for Joe, but for all the kids in the district. And I think they should be recognized for all their efforts for all the special ed kids that they work for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Turn it around. Let's turn it around. Let's show everyone. You're going right here. Yes.
I'm not a student. No. I know. Do we have a plan?
I'm going to talk to the veterans. Does anybody see Pat Guthrie? Is she here? No. She's not here.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So we go on to Peg McDonald.
Okay. Okay. Well, first, greetings everyone. This is a really special time of year. Obviously, there are only 3 days left of school for our students. They're so excited. Some of them, Joseph, fabulous job on your speech. I don't know if you noticed, when you look at the live stream, you'll notice that I had some tears in my eyes. It was very moving. It actually, I have a vision of inclusion, more inclusion and inclusivity in this district, and you are the picture of that. And I so appreciate your words. You did a wonderful job, and I think it really sets the stage for what we are about to do this evening. Congratulations, beautifully done. My name is Karen Davino. I'm the superintendent of schools. Dr. McKinney and I, and the members of the Board of Education are going to be recognizing many staff members, some of whom are here this evening and some whom are not. On the agenda, the first portion are the service awards. Unfortunately, the person on the agenda is not here, but for 25 years of service at the Glen Meadow Middle School, I'd like to congratulate and recognize Mrs. Pat Guthrie.
Pat is also retiring this year, and we're going to miss her greatly in our 7th grade math level. She's a wonderful teacher and one of our absolute favorites. So,
She is. The second person that we'd like to recognize from Vernon Township High School, one of our English teachers with 25 years of service, is Peg McDonald.
Yes.
Thank you for your service. Much appreciated.
Sure.
Yes, thought I saw her, right? The next person we'd like to recognize with 25 years of service currently at Lansbury Hollow School is Cheryl Sargent.
Cheryl's a wonderful teacher. We spent many hours together at Lounsbury. Her classroom is right up here in the corner, and she does a wonderful job with her students. So we also have to work her.
The next person we would like to recognize with 25 years of service, a math teacher currently at Lansbury Hollow School, is Robin Sparta. Thank you so much.
Listen, I just have to say this, and it's not fair to talk about testing in a situation like this, but in the state of New Jersey, what happens is some teachers get evaluated with SGPs, which is they're evaluated in math and language arts differently than other folks are, because it's based on their testing results. And we have a school district of a lot of teachers, and we only had one person with an SGP in this past year with a 4.0, and it was this young lady.
I just want to make a correction, Chuck. You said young.
I'll cut that out. We'll cut that out of the
Can we edit?
I can add single.
You can tell it's the end of the
This is
school
the
year,
best
right?
board meeting ever!
Oh, goodness. The next person we would like to recognize for years of service, although I did not see her, but she could be out there. 25 years of service, one of our school social workers at the high school is Kathy Zuckerman. Okay. The next person we'd like to recognize with 30 years of service, currently at Cedar Mountain Primary School is Joanne Howard. Thank you for your service, Joanne.
You're welcome. Joanne served as a librarian in Cedar Mountain for years, but also in the last couple of years has really helped us as a math coach and third grade teacher. And of course, I'm just thinking of how much we need a math coach. It was really important to have that flexibility, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
The next person we'd like to recognize with 30 years of service as one of our custodians right here from Lansbury Hollow School is Frank Petrillo.
If you needed something done in this building, Frankie did it. And with a smile, and he roots for the Yankees and I root for the Mets, but we still got along. But it's every day we would talk about that, but you're the best. Thanks.
The next person we would like to recognize with 30 years of service from Cedar Mountain Public School is Sherry Stefkovich.
Yes.
Where's the time?
Congratulations. I know.
The next person we would like to recognize with 30 years of service from the Rolling Hills School is Colleen Wallach. Oh, you do? It's like a neighborhood thing. We grew up together. Nice. So wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being much appreciated.
Thank you for everything, all your years together. Anytime you walk into this young lady's classroom, what happens is you get sucked into the lesson. So, you stop in for 2 minutes, And by the time she's finished, you've been there a half an hour and you're used as an object of either ridicule or lesson. So the last lesson I was in was Eagles, right? Stars and Stripes, yes. We were watching Eagles beating each other. Yes. Thanks, buddy.
I don't believe the next person is here, but for 35 years of service, and one of our district personnel, our buildings and grounds maintenance person is Darrell Storms. Don't see her, but she could be in the back. For 35 years of service, our supervisor of special services, grade 6 through 12, Cheryl Von Salzen. For 40 years of service, my goodness.
You want to say that again?
I know, 40.
40.
Talk about starting at age 12, right?
Yes.
Maybe at age 9.
Yes.
So from Rolling Hills Public School, Nancy Caprosa.
That's amazing. I know, right? Good for you. Good for you.
And still smiling.
I've done all the schools.
A truly professional educator. No matter when you talk about Nancy Caprosa, everybody always says the same thing. A professional teacher. You are a class act, young lady. And I mean young.
And also with 40 years of service, from our very own Vernon Township High School, one of our guidance personnel, Mary Jean Ryerson.
She's not here, but if you had a most valuable player, someone who quietly takes care of everything, so that schedules are taken care of, graduations are taken care of, children are taken care of, that high school could not run without Mary Jean Ryerson. Yep.
Would you like to honor our retirees?
Yes.
Dr. McKay?
Yes. All right. Tonight we have a conflict, and therefore some of our science folks who are retiring are not here tonight. So I just wanted to say a few words about both of them, so that we have a tape of our comments. Vincent Stracatanio is retiring this year, and he is one of the most professional and serious and academic educators I've ever met. I was proud to work with him every day in the school. There was never a day that he wasn't here, ready to go, ready to teach his children and to challenge them. He challenged them in physics. He made them comprehend a very difficult subject. And by the time he was finished, while he expected the most from them, they loved him, and maybe even more important, they truly, truly respected him. So I know tonight he's being honored at a party for the science department, but I just wanted to say to all of you that we're going to miss Vincent Stracatanio. In that same vein, my buddy, Dan Oseni, who I've worked with almost my entire career, is retiring as the science supervisor. We worked together as teachers. He had the AP class and I had the honors class, and we shared the same students. We often had competitions between us about who could get the best of the other one while teaching. Dan is a person of indefatigable resources. He does not tire. He takes care of his people. He was the type of person who made sure that their schedules were right. If you worked for Dan Oseni, it was to adore Dan Oseni. If you didn't work for Dan Oseni, you were mad at him because he took care of the other people very well. But Dan's an academic. Dan cared about kids, and he always had a smile on his face. And his energy level is still the same. This last week, we have spent the last couple of nights with Dan Oseni when he's retiring in a few days, and he has been at our evening meetings, he has been at scheduling meetings. We had an emergency scheduling meeting even at the high school today. I walked in, there's Dan. And that is his legacy. He was hard work, the embodiment of hard work. So I'm going to miss my friend very, very much. So Dan Oseni, we love you, pal. All right. We have had an amazing group of people retire from our district. And oftentimes you wonder whether districts survive when some of these great people leave. Examples tonight will be some of the people that I mentioned here. This person, Maureen Burns-Doolin, has been a fabulous teacher who has dedicated her entire life to education. Every time you walked into her classroom, it was a classroom that was well prepared. She was the type of person who quietly instilled confidence in children. And when the children worked with her, particularly in the last couple of years, Maureen, I could see you helping students get through the conundrums of math so that they felt confident. And if any of you have ever struggled with math, and you've seen children struggling with math, you know that can be the indicator that they decide that they can't or don't like to go to school. Maureen made sure in a quiet, confident way that those students were taken care of and that they knew their math. So, Maureen, without further ado, thank you very much for all of your years here. So, Maureen, you know that we gave presents out to at different parties, etc. So we have this little goofy gift for you, and it's for all the retirees. So don't just laugh at Maureen. You're all getting it. And this is a retirement survival gift. Okay, so there's a balloon in here to start your celebration with a bang. Although don't do it during the meeting. We're nervous enough. Gold leaf because you're worth your weight in gold. There's love hearts to remind you to follow your heart. There's a marker, because retirement marks the start of a new journey. There's an elastic band. Try to stay flexible in your retirement. One of the great things about all of our teachers is our flexibility, right? I mean, anybody who's a teacher knows, oh, that's what's going on today? Okay, so there's a marble to help replace the ones you've lost at work. A tea bag. Retirement is one long tea break. Seeds for all the seeds of knowledge you've sown. A starburst for a burst of energy when you need it. Straw to have a drink and let your hair down. Money to help towards retirement funds. A candle so your future looks bright. A toothpick to pick out the very best in every day. And confetti because it's time to celebrate. Okay, as we talked about before, our next retiree is Nancy Caparoso. Nancy, come on up. Yeah, you have more marbles, Nancy. So listen, when certain people retire, they know it's time to retire. When Nancy was thinking about retiring, it was a struggle, right? Okay, so what is it about teaching that keeps drawing us in and wanting us to stay?
I don't know. It just the joy you see, like this young man, the joy you see every day on his children, and it's been a great experience.
It's not an easy decision, is it?
No, I had my letter, and my letter went back and forth a couple times. And,
there was actually a letter that went
really was
across the desk, then came back, across the desk, came back. Yeah.
And I'm glad that I stayed. Thanks.
Yeah, we're glad you stayed too. Okay, thanks, Nancy. All right, my buddy's retiring, Sandy Friedhoff. I'm going to miss you, young lady, very, very much. Come on up. passionate, caring, always worried about the kids. When she decided to retire and told me about it, broke down in tears. Knew that she was going to miss all of her friends here and the kids. And your whole life has been dedicated to children. And that can't be replaced. And we love you, and we're going to miss you. Okay. All right. Patty Guthrie's not here. I'm not exactly sure where she is, but Pat has already moved out of her house and is heading down the shore. So it's already done. Like, she's amazing. What? Yeah. No, I say that. Yeah. Yes. So she's on her way. I think it was. I mean, obviously she's still here, but I think all the bags are packed. So she's going. Okay. So Joanne is also retiring. So Joanne, come on up. Joanne Howard. Okay, so the question is, what's the first thing we do in retirement when we love to read? Are you going to start reading again, or what do we plan to do?
I think I'm going to help out in the library, actually.
I really want to be around kids. Very good.
So,
Very
yeah,
good.
thank you.
All right, well, you're welcome
Thank
back
you.
anytime.
Okay.
So,
Thank
okay,
you.
Joanne, thank you. Is she here? Yes, okay. There was a time in my life where I spent every afternoon with this young woman. We coached together in soccer, and I got to know her and her family. She single-handedly, along with her husband, kept our enrollment up. And she has been a star in a very quiet way. She's very well respected at the high school for all that she does for her students. And she has one of the kindest hearts I know. So, Sherry Quinn, come on up. Yeah. Okay, come visit. Yeah. All right, there you go. So, what's your favorite memory of being at the high school?
Coaching with you.
That was a setup.
Money? Right, remember? Yeah, I know.
A lot of good.
When we coached together, we coached at Glen Meadows, so we were over in the field over here, and it was in the fall. And as you know, Vernon's very beautiful in the fall, and the trees would always change colors in the mountains, and Sherry and I spent many a good afternoon with some fascinating, wonderful
Young ladies, yes.
young ladies who were real stars, and who are now all moms and have grown children. So, yes, it's been a while. All right, congratulations. Sherry was also our bowling coach, and I wanted to coach with her, but then I found out you can't smoke and drink at bowling matches, so.
Good at soccer?
Yeah, well, it's outdoors. So. All right, is Sue Rebus here? There she is. Okay. At Sue's retirement dinner, it was a situation where Sue had worked in one school for a long time, and then the last couple of years, you can come up, Sue. And then the last couple of years, she's worked in another school. And what was amazing was there was two schools that wanted to speak about her. And both wanted to say all these great things about Sue Rebus. Sue Rebus is a star, and she's one of those people that energizes a science classroom with fascinating facts, this sense of all children can do anything they want to. And sometimes when you walk into a classroom, you feel like children aren't doing anything they want to. They're in a very good way, experiments are going on, children are participating. But what I've noticed most of all is children fall in love with you. And then they just want Mrs. Revis for the next year and the next year and the next year. So we are truly going to miss you. I know you have great plans for your retirement, but
Oh, yeah. My son and his wife are having twin boys Tuesday. Her scheduled C-section, so I'll be the full-time babysitter. But if it gets too hard, I might be knocking back on the door. Let me back in. It'll be easier, yes.
this grandmother stuff's terrible. Come, yeah.
So that is it.
Right, yes,
Can
of
I
course.
just quickly, he's gonna really not be happy, but my husband back there, I'm telling you, all the things I have built, all the planets I have hung, that's the man who has been there and you.
Right, all right, so, okay, so we have to tell this story. Yeah. When I first came to Lounsbury, I didn't know all the players, right? I didn't know who was here and who was not. And on Friday nights, it would be late, and I would be trying to close up the office, and there was always one or two cars out in the parking lot. And I'm like, what the heck? I better go back and check, to see, whether it's our custodians and they're parking in the... Anyway, what it was Miss Revis on Friday, after the school day was over, then spent the next 8 hours planning for the following week. Her poor husband would come over with pizzas, literally pizzas. They would eat together while she was doing her work, and he would help out and make sure that everything was okay, and then he would go home, and then Sue would close up.
Well,
There's your dedication.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And thank you, Edwina. I started crying in Edwina's office today, and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
But it started there.
Yeah.
And then it's
It's
continued.
it's
Thank
tissue
you very
time, right?
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Love you, kiddo. Okay, Kathy's not here. Is Donna Burke here? Donna's not here? Okay. How about Donna Weatherwalks? No? All right. We've hit our retirees then. Folks, a lot of talent is walking out the door. This is a great district, and it's great only because of the wonderful people who work here. So thank you to all of our retirees. Every year, in the last 3 years, we have had the Hall of Fame. Now, the Hall of Fame was first instituted under Tony Masserino, and it went on until Tony left, and then we had a 17-year hiatus, but we have reinstituted it. In the last 3 years, we've put the Hall of Fame together. And what we do is we send out a letter to our faculty basically saying if someone wants to nominate someone, they can. And this year, we had a nomination for a Hall of Fame person, and that nomination came from Mr. Brad Sparta, who wanted to nominate this person. And so I think it's entirely appropriate that he reads the commendation on this person.
Thank you, Chuck.
So before I start reading this, there's only so much that we can fit on the plaque. And this person, there's a lot more to say about this person than what's on this paper that's on the plaque as well. So Mr. Philip Hardin was hired to be a physical education teacher at Vernon Township High School in January of 1977. A year and a half later, the building opened. A year and a half after the building opened. From the time he started until the time he retired in June of 2015, he has been a fixture in that school and its athletic community. He was a football coach from the fall of 1977 until 1992, where he was best known for his special teams, unconventional plays, and conditioning drills. He coached varsity girls basketball from 1978 until 1991 and did 2 stints in the Vernon Township baseball team, first as a JV coach from the late 70s to early 90s, and then the boys varsity coach from 2003 until 2008. He was also the site manager for all athletic teams from 1995 until 2002. In all these roles, and as a physical education teacher, the number of athletes and students that he made an impression on is innumerable. What Phil may be most remembered for is how many people, through his tutelage, earned their driving permit and eventually their license. As a driver education instructor, a job he continued after retiring from Vernon Schools, he is well into teaching his 3rd generation of local families to drive. In the early years of driver education in the state of New Jersey, the road instruction was under the auspices of the local school district and mainly offered to students in the summertime. During this time in the car, there was the instructor and 2 students. There are numerous stories of Mr. Hardin and his students during those days. Stories 30 and 40 years later are still thrown around on Facebook and social media. There are many things that could be said about Phil Hardin. He loved to teach, he loved to coach, and as a mentor and guide, he loved his athletes. However, I think his most important attribute was that he was always genuine. He did countless things for students that many people don't know because he never wanted to get credit for what he had done. There is a saying, quote, he would do anything for you. He'd probably give you the shirt off his back. I could say unequivocally that in Mr. Hardin's case, it wasn't probably true. It was definitely true. I know because I witnessed it. I could think of no one more deserving of this honor. Mr. Hardin. Get the plaque. Now, like I said, there's a lot of things that couldn't go on the plaque. For one, many people don't know this, but Mr. Hardin was actually had his picture in the Cooperstown Hall of Fame for having the fastest pitch in his age group. That's correct, right? That's correct.
What's the age group?
Is it still there or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it was 82 miles per hour.
82 miles an hour.
In my 40s.
Another thing is, a lot of people do know my father actually hired Mr. Hardin back in 1977. And we used to have dinner out front on a picnic table back in the 70s when you used to do that stuff, right? And one night, Mr. Hardin comes driving up the hill on his motorcycle in his little white helmet. And we hear a little beep on the motorcycle. My dad goes, up there goes Phil. And he said, don't worry, he'll be back. Phil went up the hill, turned around, came back down, joined us for dinner. And back then, he could eat. There was a pile of bones of chicken when he got done. So, Mr. Hardin, it's known you a very, very long time. It's always been a pleasure to have conversations with you. It was a pleasure being your student. It was a pleasure being your athlete. And there's no one that I can think that's more deserving of this honor than you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brad. Those words mean a lot to me. I want to thank the School District Hall of Fame for my induction tonight. I also want to thank family and friends for coming out, some of whom are watching on live stream, so hello out there to live stream. I want to extend a thank you to our son, Adam Hardin, who finished his teaching down in southern Jersey and came up, made a 200-mile trip up to see me inducted here tonight, so appreciate that very much, Adam. But the biggest thank you I want to go to is a School District Hall of Famer, Mr. Gary Sparta, who, as Brad mentioned, hired me. It was during 1976, Christmas break, and Gary, I still remember some of the questions you asked me. And there was a change of lifestyle, and the best blessing I ever had was coming to Vernon Township High School. I loved it there. It became like a home away from home, and spent a lot of time there. And I experienced a wonderful working place. They had a strong administrative leadership. I had wonderful faculty to work with, very friendly and faculty and staff. Made a lot of enduring friends, lasted for a long time. I still treasure today. I had wonderful students to work with, and I had great facilities too. Particularly once the new gym was built and the turf field was put down, I would say to students, let's just take a second. Let's just look around at what we got here. Look, what percentage of American high school students have facilities like this to work with? And I tried to make the students appreciate really what we have going on there, okay? But little did I know, despite all the blessings that I had coming my way professionally, that the biggest blessing I was to have at Vernon High School was yet to come. And it was not to come on the professional level, it was to come on the personal level. Because way back in 1981, there was a Penn State graduate named Patricia Bernardi, and she saw an advertisement for a job at Vernon High School in the paper. She applied. She too was interviewed by Mr. Sparta. Gary, you made a great pick. And 2 years after her arrival, her name changed from the last name from Bernardi to Hardin, and she enjoyed a 32-year teaching career with much teaching and coaching successes. And she did so well that she was named the school district teacher of the year. So, as a matter of fact, I thought maybe they got the Hardins mixed up. Maybe it was her that was supposed to be up here. Okay. Now, when Chuck called me to inform me of this award, I was in a deep power nap, something I usually take in the afternoon. And I woke up, I was kind of surprised that there was a message because I didn't hear the phone ring. And I started to listen to it. It's something about Hall of Fame and me, and congratulations. And so I had to pinch myself. I thought maybe still I was dreaming in my power nap, but I wasn't. I listened to it a second time, and it was me, and I'm honored. And so I called Chuck, and he's told me the likes of the names of people who are already in the Hall of Fame. And I said, what did I do to compare to them? Their contributions to the school district seem much more than mine. But here I am. I'm honored to be here. And I received the ultimate, what I'll call backhanded compliment from my brother Jim over here. Jim, upon calling him and telling him about this evening, inviting him to come, he said, well, you must have done something good while you were there. Because you sure didn't get in because of your looks. So good looks or not, I'm honored to be here. I'm Vernon Township High School. I'm very appreciative of all that it did for me and my family. And I guess you could say I'm an ambassador for the school district because I really appreciate all it did for me and my family. Thank you very much. Former student here. That's right. Can I teach you how to drive?
No.
Thank you.
I think there should have been tissues like everywhere tonight because it's really so wonderful. You get to the end of the school year and you hear about the dedication of our retirees and all the years of service in our district. It's quite emotional. And of course, to Mr. Hardin, who I didn't meet until just now, thank you so much for all of your time in Vernon and all of the wonderful dedication, service, and commitment to our students. It means a tremendous amount to me as a relatively new superintendent to the district. I have the pleasure of recognizing and congratulating Lauren McGee for her service to the district as a board member. Lauren only served with us for, I think, about 2.5 years, correct? So it was a short time, but a couple of things that I think is important for people in the audience and people at home to know about Mrs. McGee. You know, the service on the board is quite challenging. And unfortunately, I think the last 2.5 years could be some of the most challenging 2.5 years that this district has seen. We've been through an awful lot in a very short amount of time. But what makes Lauren truly special are several really wonderful characteristics. She has absolutely an extremely high level of integrity. Every interaction with Mrs. McGee was positive, it was professional, she's articulate, and she cared deeply about our students as well as about the district as a whole. With a background as an architect, she was always a great set of eyes for buildings and grounds and facilities, and really looking at things from a different way than I would look as an educator, and I always appreciated that. The other things that I think were really important about Lauren was that she had a great way, I think, of working with every board member that you see behind me, except for Adina, who's new, but they know each other and they've worked well together on the gate committee. But Lauren had a real sense, I think, of honoring the voices of everyone at the table, which I really appreciated. And if you look at some of our previous live streams, Lauren had this wonderful sense of really honoring everyone's opinion. And we've often said that even when, as a group, we don't agree on things, that's okay. It's important, I think, that on a board or even in society, that we honor the differences of the people among us, and we learn to listen to those people and to come to consensus on things that are really important. And she had an absolute skill in that area. And the last thing that I'll share, and then certainly open it up for anybody else, and I've told Lauren I'm going to take this with me as she leaves the board. One of the things that I learned from her is to find an opportunity out of a challenge. And I so appreciate that perspective. I saw her do it as a board member on more than one occasion, even in my office as I'm brainstorming and thinking and working. And I was with Dr. McKay the other day, and I said, I'm going to channel my Lauren McGee right now, and I'm going to think about how do we make an opportunity out of a challenge. And I think that's a really important perspective. It speaks to the power of yet, like Joseph spoke about before, when you think about an opportunity out of a challenge. And I really appreciate that perspective as a school leader, and I learned it from a board member. And I think that speaks to a really important balance between the superintendent and the board, and how much we can really achieve when we collaborate, work together, and honor each other as people really contributing to the benefit of our school district. So I'm proud and honored that I was able to work with her in the short amount of time we worked together. She was a tremendous board member. I wish her absolutely all the best success in her new home, and you'll be missed terribly. Thank you for your service, Lauren.
Getting sworn in, and here we are. Here's me. So quiet, so cooperative, snacking. Thank you so much. It's truly an honor to be up here and to have worked with all of you, but the bigger honor really is to be in front of an audience. 40 years of service, 25 years of service, Hall of Fame, an amazing speech. This is humbling to be in the presence of such dedicated educators. You are truly the future, and you are educating the future. You are building the world, and it's been an honor to serve. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Lauren, are you going to run Virginia or no?
That's funny. Are you coming? We're a team. We only do this as a team.
I want to thank your fellow board members
Yes.
that delivered this for you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
We'll get a picture of the board with Lauren.
Great. And Dave.
Can we get a picture of all the board members together with Lauren? We're gonna put you all together. Yep, just get a picture.
Everybody get in.
Yep.
I go in front of you.
Dave's the unofficial. She's in here.
Very good. Got it. Good. Thank you.
So that's it for presentations, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all of our presentations. We are going to take a break for some cake, coffee, and cookies. I believe we're over there. The board has an extensive closed session we think that we have to go into. So we apologize for that, but we are going to have our cake. We're going to take it into our closed session and eat it. So can I have a motion to go in closed?
Motion.
Mr. Cherry, second. Mr. Chili? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're in closed. Everybody go enjoy cake, cookies.